you're a Bronx native, of course, right?
Yes.
Okay. So at what point, I mean, coming from the Bronx, and, you know, we all know that that's like the home of hip-hop. So at what point did you actually discover your interest in hip-hop? And not just, not just an interest, but did you realize this was something that you actually really, really wanted to do?
I was in high school, like in 10th grade,
Mhm.
and I just used to write my raps to myself and just, you know, just keep them to myself. And then I started letting my friend named June Brown. He was like my rap idol. And he used to have books of rhymes, you know, and he used to rhyme to me all the time. So he amazed me so much that I used to just go home and write rhymes, but I was too scared to let people hear them.
Mhm.
And then one day I said it to him, and then he was like, "Yo, you nice." You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and then that gave me more confidence, and then I was used to listen. I used to hear a lot of different ciphers and stuff, and I used to be scared to get in ciphers, you know. And then one day I just went into one cipher in the park, and then, you know, everybody was just shocked, like, "Yo, you really nice, man. You really could do something, man, for real. Like, you got talent, you know." And that's when I started really taking it serious.
Okay. And then this was in school, because in school you played ball in school, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Now, was that something that you wanted to pursue at first? Like, at first, was it that you wanted to pursue?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to be an NBA player, you know, and as time went on, I just fell out of the love with basketball, but that was my first passion.
And now, you still play?
I mean, you know, I go on the court every now and play a pickup game, and I get on the court because I got a son, so, you know, I go out there with him, and I play with him from time to time, but for the most part, I don't really do it that much.
Okay. All right, so now at this point we're in high school, and this is when you started doing the ciphers in school, you were playing ball, and then you realized that, you know, hip-hop was your passion. And then going forward, you did some college courses, right, in criminal justice. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I went to John Jay for a couple of semesters to, you know, then I just really started going hard with rap.
Okay. And now at that point, when you say going hard with rap, was this you know, doing your own mixtapes? Was this doing like local shows? Was this you like getting your buzz and putting your name out there? Like, for those like who are actually trying to get in it, like, what do you constitute as going hard? Like, what was your whole game plan?
Well, the game was different then. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't the way you got to market yourself now. The way you get signed now is way different than the way you did before. You was nice. You rhymed to the right person, and they heard you. They said, "Oh, come on, we're gonna sign you." It ain't like that no more. So right now, you got to damn near be an established artist to get signed. So like, the way I did it was, you know, we used to just find ciphers where everybody was rhyming. We found where all the rappers was at, where they was hanging, you know, and we would go there, and they would hear us. Like, I got signed basically through me and Sean had a cipher, me, Sean, and Nori. So that's how I first got into it. We was in front of Justin, and that's when everybody in the industry used to hang in front of Justin.
And you said you, Shine, and Nori were having a cipher? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, they was basically having a cipher, and I just jumped in. You know,
okay.
I just jumped in nowhere. So,
okay.
And then it just
were they signed at that point?
Yeah, that's when Shine had just got signed. That's when Nori was. That was when Nori had he had put out. He had just finished doing the Band from TV track.
Okay.
He ain't even drop it yet, but he had let me hear it. So, but he knew I could rap before that. But that's why he pretty much like instigated a battle between me and Sean.
Wow. So then you joined into this cipher, and then you get signed on the spot. And is this when you went to Wanna Blow Entertainment, or is it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And who actually, recognized you or discovered you at this cipher? Like, did they come up to you? How did that happen? Did they just come up to you and say, we heard you outside? And, tell me about that.
No, what happened was, Wanna Blow was a company that I pretty much started with my partner Tone. Me and him. He was one of the first people that heard me rhyme. He was taking me to different labels. Like, he had took me to So Def, and we had Whoop the Seed. I was originally gonna sign with Entertainment.
Okay.
Before Cam dropped the album, I was originally supposed to sign there. But after Cypher and everything, I had a whole bidding war after that. So it created a buzz, and we had like 10 labels. So we ended up signing. But Wanna Blow was something that we created together. You know what I'm saying? He came with the name, but it was like I was the first artist, and I brought different artists and a whole game plan of how we should run it. So that's what Wanna Blow was.
Okay. And then so you're on Wanna Blow. How long were you actually with this label, and then at what point did this actually end and you move on to Violator?
Well, I was signed with Wanna Blow through Violator. Like, that was our company, so, we went from there. We got a production deal with Violator, Def Jam, and that's when I got signed to there in 98, 99.
Okay. And then at this point, you're doing songs with like X, you're doing songs with Mace. Life is good, everything is going good.
At that point, I got signed to Chris Lighty. Chris Lighty had heard about what happened. He wanted me to come to him, and I just rhymed. I went in his office, they threw on beats, and I just rhymed for like an hour straight to every beat that came on. Me and Mos Def, I never forget it. Me and Mos Def sat in his office and just rhymed to every beat, and man, Mos Def was like, "Yo, this dude is the truth." Hold on. Man. But at that point, we sat down, we negotiated, and from then I was a Violator artist.
Right. So you said where was it at? Where you were with Mos Def? Mos Def?
It was inside the Violator office, the infamous Def Jam office on Varick Street.
Okay. And then, so at that point, were you working on your own project? Was it a mixtape or was it an album?
Well, at that point, when I got signed, we didn't do mixtapes back then. You just got on mixtapes. You was on Cruise mixtape.
Okay.
You wasn't before. That was before the era where you put out your own mixtape.
Okay.
So it changed. And then, at that point, I was just working on. That's when I got on the Violators' first album. That's when I did the That's when I got on the Rough Rider soundtrack, and I was on Clues mixtapes, about 3 or 4 of them at that point. So I was doing a whole lot of different things.
And then going forward, at this point, you signed to Violator. Now, when the rest happened, and you did 7 years, or was it, how long did you?
7, yeah.
7. Now, were you still signed when you actually got locked up?
Yeah, I had just got signed. I was newly signed. I was scheduling, just putting together the album. I was completing the album. I was signed for like probably 6 months when I got locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I got locked up and just getting in there. And then I got locked up like 6 months later, and
now,
that wouldn't look.
So then, at that point, did they end the contract? Like, did your deal drop while you were?
It didn't end till about 3 years later, because we had went through the whole appeal processes, and we was hopeful that things would happen, but you locked up for 7 years. You know, you can't just. I didn't want to. I no longer wanted to just be on a label because at that point I knew way more. You know, it was like I don't. You know, I realized the contract I signed was different, and the game was changing. I realized that, you know, I could do a lot more on my own. Like to come in to come back after doing a deal you did in 1998, in 2005 and 2006. The whole climax and the whole, you know, the whole demographic of music has changed. So, like, the contract that I signed then, I would definitely want to sign now. And it probably would have been up by the time that I was coming home from prison. So, you know, I just wanted to start with a clean slate.
Do you feel like you know more about the business side now? I mean, in reference to back then? Like when you said you wouldn't sign again, yeah.
Definitely. Like, you know, of course, I was 20 years old when I started. You know, when I first got my deal, so I was just happy to be signed. You know, I didn't care what they would have gave me. I didn't know nothing about points on albums and in publishing and, you know, and royalties and digital points. You know, I didn't know none of that.
That's something that a lot of new artists don't know about. Like if there's one pointer or something that you can give new artists that, you know, are just like you were at that point when you were 20 years old, that they're just happy to get signed and they're in a hurry to sign these papers, but they don't know anything about everything.
It's even worse now because now they're giving out 360 deals. So at this point, they own everything. Like before, your show money and all that stuff was your money. Now they give you 360 deals to where they get percentages of the shows you get. So it's like now it's like, and it doesn't even make sense because you don't like at some point like the way the industry. This is why they say the record company is suffering. It's suffering, but the artist itself is not really suffering. See, the thing is that at this point, you don't need to sell a lot of records to make money in this game no more because the internet is so big and you're able to market yourself and produce your own fan base and create your own showcases and travel and build, you know, create your own tours without even having been signed to a major label. So, you know, of course the labels were suffering because they weren't getting their money, and then they're not putting the same money, the same marketing dollar into the product anymore because they don't know what's winning. They don't think that the game is that strong. So at this point, all I would tell an artist is to create his own brand, man. Create his own brand before, because you have to do it anyway. Like right now, before you get signed, they're not just signing. They don't do artist development no more. For them to sign you, you have to have a bunch of YouTube views, or you're gonna have a bunch of BDS spins. You know, it's a lot of stuff that goes into you getting signed. You very rarely just hear, oh, this kid come around, so they signed him. You know, before every new artist you see, Wiz Khalifa, Gucci Mane, these dudes was doing shows for 10 and 15,000 before they even had a major deal. So this is the only thing that they signed anyway. So at that point, it has to make sense for me to sign a deal. If I can already get shows and get 10 and 15,000, like what are you offering me for me to make a major deal? Only thing they really can offer you is major distribution and major promotion that on levels and places that you might not be able to reach yourself. So, you know, I just tell all artists, just understand your worth as an artist. You know, understand that when you go into, if you being offered a deal and your spins is up and you already got you built up your internet presence and you're doing your own shows and, you know, and you're doing your own appearances and features and all that, for you to sign something, it has to make sense. It has to really benefit you, or else you lose, because the only thing they're doing is telling you, all right, you're going to make all the money and we're just going to split some of it with you. You know? So it doesn't make sense for you to tell me you're going to split my money that I'm making already. Unless you can tell me that, all right, you're making this, but I can quadruple what you're making, and then you give me a percentage. Then it makes sense to me.
Now, is that just with major labels, or that's like indie labels too?
But indie labels, the indie label, it makes a little more sense because most indie labels are not really signing you to the record deals. They signing you to song deals. When you do when you do independent, most independent deals, they hear the song is hot, it's getting a buzz. They give you a budget for that song. Y'all split the proceeds. They market, they promote. Y'all split the proceeds of the song, and it gets bigger. So if I was the artist, what I would do is sign song by song like Soulja Boy does.
Oh, okay.
Just don't give them no album. You don't got to do no album. Give them one song at a time. I sign a single deal for this amount of money, and until and you building your own buzz, but they helping you promote yourself. So you make yourself your own brand. I just don't. I don't see the logic in signing to a major label unless they can guarantee and they're willing to put top dollar behind your project if you already have a buzz.
Okay.
And you're already doing your own shows and you're already able to mass produce and put out your own material. I just don't see it.
Okay. So at this point, you're not signed, or are you?
I'm not signed. I'm not signed to a solo artist deal.
Okay. So did you have any affiliation with the game, like with his label?
Well, the situation I have over there is more of a group situation. We're putting out the whole Black Wall Street label as a compilation, and it's called the Goon Squad that he's putting together with myself and about 4 or 5 other artists, and he's gonna put together like a compilation, sort of like what Ross did with Maybach Music, and and Weezy did with Young Money. So that's what we working
on. Okay. And you have an affiliation with 50?
I mean, I never really had an affiliation. A lot of people get confused because when I signed with when I first came home, we started a Bronx movement called Bang Bang Boogie. Bang Bang Boogie was based out of the Bronx, so it was just like it was a couple of known artists. It was myself, Cuban Links, Lord Tariq, who was down with Lord Tariq and Peter Guns to promote the Bronx music and the way certain things, certain artists. I myself didn't really partake in that aspect of it, but I enjoyed the unity of it and the fact that seeing that a bunch of Bronx artists was coming together, seeing as though that the Bronx is like the forgotten borough. We created hip-hop, and there wasn't really nobody coming out the Bronx. So I seen the unity, and I said, I want to do it. So 50 being the businessman he is, so to capitalize on the fact that the artists were going at Fat Joe at the same time him and Fat Joe were beefing. So he's seen it as, well, these are respected people, respected artists. The song is dope. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like Fat Joe anyway, so I'm going to promote it.
Okay.
And that's what he did, you know what I'm saying? At that point, he promoted the song. It was, I've known 50 for years. I've known 50 since when I first got signed. Me and 50 got signed when he had his first deal with Grandmaster Jay. Like, we used to be in the studio together. So I know 50 since back then. But, we, other than just us being cool, we never did business together. He's seen this Bang Bang Boogie. He contributed when we did the Bang Bang Boogie. One of the guy who was the graphic designer for the logo, he had a relationship with Nelson, who works for 50 and this 50.com. So they were pushing that. That's when This Is 50.com really first came out. So they seen this as a good marketing tool to bring traffic to the website, and it was a good business thing. So they brought T-shirts that say Bang Bang Boogie on the front and this 50.com. So they sponsored T-shirts for our second video that we did, and everybody had this 50 T-shirts on. So everybody seeing that, they signed with 50, but it was nothing more than that. It was nothing more than he contributed to that and brought some T-shirts. We never had any deal. None of us ever even sat down and talked to 50 about a deal. Nobody ever gave us any money. We were never signed to G-Unit, never signed to 50 Cent, nothing. So it's a misconception.
Mm-hmm.
There was a big misconception about us being or having affiliation with 50. But I know 50 for years, but that's where it stops.
Okay, I got you. Now, In reference to your work or your body of work, do you consider yourself to be a conscious rapper? I mean,
I don't consider myself a conscious. I consider myself a reality rapper. My
okay.
my 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 raps are reality based because at all times I'm not conscious. I'm not always positive at all times because that's not reality in my life. The balance of the world is negative and positive. Sometimes I might say something negative to get a positive response. I might say something negative because it's the emotion that I feel about a certain situation. Like I might tell you that, yo, if you do such and such to me, I might shoot you. It's not that I'm trying to be negative. I'm not promoting violence, but I'm just explaining to you that I'm not going to allow you to hurt me before I hurt you. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't want to. I don't think that I'm a conscious rapper. At times I'm very aware and I'm very politically based, or I'm aware of what's going on. I'm aware of the struggles that we deal with. So, and I'm intelligent, so I'm able to manifest that into my music. And there's songs that might be considered conscious, but I don't consider myself because I'm street based. I came from the street. I came from the bottom, and I understand the realities of the situation in the hoods. I don't promote. I don't advocate negative bullshit just to be negative.
Yeah.
You know, that's my thing. If that's your thing, then cool. I don't do that. You know, I'm not just telling you to sell crack because it's cool. You know, when I sold crack it's because I didn't have nothing to eat. You know, and I was trying to figure out a better way, or I had a son and he didn't have nothing to eat. So whenever I did any negativity, it was for the better good of something else. Some people might not agree with that, but you have to go through the situation yourself to be able to judge that. So, you know, in short, I wouldn't consider myself a conscious at time. I'm just very aware of my surroundings, and I see things clear, and I deal with reality with life on life's terms.
So with music now, I mean, even going back to what you said about being aware and intelligent, there are a lot of intelligent rappers out there that kind of water down their music.
And they have no choice. And it's sad to say, but I feel like I'm fighting a losing race at times.
Yeah.
You know, when you put out conscious things and you know that what you're saying is the realist, it's just that people rather buy fantasy. It's just the bottom line. Like somebody would rather buy the illusion than the reality of what's going on. People want to get high and drunk. They want to escape reality. They don't want to deal with it. I just happen to have no problem dealing with life. Like, this is what it is. The average person is trying to escape reality. So you fighting a losing battle when you bringing forth, you explaining to them the hard times that's going on. And the reality is that, you know, everybody ain't popping bottles and got millions of dollars. And some people, we in a recession and, you know, we should be thinking about this. They don't want to hear that. Even though that's their reality, they want to live through somebody else's fake reality and make it theirs. They want to go to the club with their last few dollars, act like they got money, and throw it in the air so they can feel like they did what the rapper told them to do, and they have fun for that 5 minutes, even if they wake up tomorrow and they still don't have rent money. That was okay for them. I don't understand that mentality, but it's the reality. You know, it's the reality. People smoke cigarettes where it says this causes cancer, and we know that cancer is one of the leading causes of death in the black community, but people do it every day. I don't get it, but this is the nature of our people. So when you try to fight against that nature, you know, it's only but so much of a response you're going to get. Yeah, the conscious people, but it's way less conscious people. It's way more dumb people than the smart people. So it's like you speaking Spanish in an English-speaking country, and people just looking at you like, there's a few people that speak Spanish, and they're, oh, yeah, I hear you. But the rest of these people don't. So what I realize is that reality does not outweigh perception. if somebody perceives something that's not real to be real, then that becomes their reality. So you try to tell them what's real, and if that's not what they want to perceive it as, you're wasting your time. So I did a video called Get Money, and I put a skit in front of it. And it was a real, it was satire, but it was real. It was the mentality of, it was me talking to myself, another person that's supposed to be not me, but it was me. I did both the characters, and I was just saying how people don't want to hear conscious and real shit. They want to talk about getting money, and they want to talk about how high they get, and how fresh they are, and how much pussy, and, that's what they want to talk about. So you telling them about some real shit, nobody wants to hear that. Make them dance. Nigga don't want to sit there. People don't want to think. That the day of that conscious rap and people wanting to sit there and think is almost gone. It's almost finished. It's almost finished. Like, it's like fighting a losing battle. I don't give all the way up, but I understand now that you have to teach people within their ignorance. You got to teach people, you got to teach people math by saying, all right, if you got one gun and you shoot a nigga, and then you got another gun and you shoot a nigga, how many guns you got? You just can't say 1 + 1 is 2. You got to put it in a term that they get.
But with this going on, with it being hard to actually, I'll say, get this music across to people, get people to, and not your set fan base, but for the rest of the world to accept this music. If this conscious type of music is not something, then what do you do? Do you switch your style up, or do you continue to do?
You have to switch. You have to switch the delivery. You have to, because at the end of the day, what happens is this. What I realize is still entertainment, and this is why Public Enemy had Flavor Flav.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get it. I'm saying, yo, Chuck D is nice, and they talking real shit, but Flavor Flav was there looking stupid with this clock. It's still entertainment. And at the end of the day, he entertained the people that didn't want to be taught. So they still learned in the interim because they was saying what the words that was coming out of Chuck D's mouth because they was entertained by Flavor Flav. So they came to the concert and had an opportunity to learn. So the key to it is still you have to entertain. And the things that I think is clownish or lame, and a lot of rappers do, they entertaining the crowd. They keeping them paying attention to a certain degree. But I'm not gonna sell myself to where I do things that I can't look at my mother and be comfortable with. It has to be a level of where, all right, I get it now. But I'm gonna dress up like this. I'm gonna say this to mock this, and at the end of the day, make people laugh, but they still get the gist of what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like what Saturday Night Live does when they do political satire, and they tell you a story within it, and you laughing, but you're like, damn, that's some real shit they just said. There's a lot of comedians do it. They make you laugh at real issues that's going on in the world. So I just realized that, I'm able to entertain. Sometimes I don't always feel like doing that through music. Sometimes I want to put a real message out, but sometimes it has to entertain. If I can make you dance while I'm teaching you, or make you laugh while I'm telling you to pay attention to something, then why not? If I got to talk about money for you to get it, if I have to put out a money song called Get Money for you to pay attention to the other 10 songs that's on the album, because that's going to make you say, yo, I like him, and then you go there and you listen to some shit that's not like that. If I got to do that to get you, then it makes sense to me.
But even what you're saying with the satire comedy, what a lot of these artists are doing, the definition of satire is poking fun at human weakness or folly. So do you think that they're making fun of themselves, or some sort of buffoonery going on with a lot of the music that's out today?
A lot of the thing is this it's not a lot of artists that are doing what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Jay-Z did it. Jay-Z wanted to rhyme, like he said, truthfully, I wanted to rhyme like common sense. But I sold $5 million, so I ain't been rhyming like common sense. He got that. Listen, y'all don't want the real stuff. Like, I give y'all real stuff, and y'all call it watered down and this. I put up, can I get a what? Something that take me 10 minutes, something that I probably would have never put out, and y'all say this shit is one of the best songs ever. So you did what you do is you deter an artist that's creative. You turn off his creativity because it's not even being acknowledged, and you acknowledging me for shit that takes me 10 minutes to do. So why am I gonna waste my time on something that y'all not getting anyway? You know, a lot of these artists, they just giving you, they watered down because they watered down. They don't have no love for the creativity of hip hop. They just trying to make a dollar. If you listen to 90% of the rappers now, man, they like, man, I'm just getting money. I don't give a fuck about nothing you talking about. I don't care if nobody likes what I said. Like, when you critique me and said something I said is whack, I'm like, what? I want to go home and replay it and think like whack. Like, I don't say whack shit. Half of these rappers, you tell them they whack, they say, man, I don't give a fuck about that. I'm getting money.
Mhm. Wow.
So if that's the mind state, then, you know, you can't expect them. They don't care. It's not they watering down to get paid. Some of them just don't care. But some of them are watering down, like Plies. Plies is one of the most intelligent rappers I ever heard speak.
College graduate, yeah.
You know, but when you listen to that music, like, where how did this? But they buying it. You know, that's psychology. He's doing psychology, but at the end of the day, you know what I say? That's, to me, I still think that it's a crime that you do that, because it's okay to dumb it down to the point where, you know, where, all right, they don't understand this, but I'm still trying to give them the message. But don't dumb it down to where the point where you looked at as a fool and they still not getting the message, but you just able to prosper off the situation. I don't like that. You know, that's my issue when they say, oh, you be hating on Little B. Like, if Little B is smarter than what he's saying, then he's misleading y'all to it's like a cult leader telling you, y'all just go in the room and kill yourself. But he ain't going to kill himself. He going to watch y'all kill yourself and walk out because he's smarter than that. You know, I don't agree with that. And if he's not smart enough, then he's still just leading you to kill yourself, and he's going to kill himself too. So he's just as dumb as y'all. So, you know, it don't make sense. Either way you put it is just all fucked up.
So, going forward, like, what are you working on now? Like, tell us about your project.
At this point, I'm working on three different projects. I'm working on three different mixtapes. I'm working on a documentary, which, you know, basically tells my whole story from beginning to end, getting signed and locked up, and it's broken down through videos. It's sort of like how Jay-Z did Streets is Watching, where he told the story of basically what he went through the music and the video. So I did that same thing, but it's an interview, and throughout the interview, different videos come in to basically showcase what actually went through, because most of my lyrics tell a story anyway, and they're reality based anyway. So the storyline coincides with the video, and the interviews coincide with my life. So it's just like it's gonna be really entertaining.
Mhm. Okay. And then we have a question that we always ask the artists, and I'm gonna ask you. It's A Game Magazine, so I want to ask you, how does Mysonne stay on his A game?
My son stays on his A game by always doing what is true to him. You know, at the end of the day, whatever it is that I do, I'm able to sleep with. I can go to sleep every night comfortable knowing that I was okay with that. I don't make moves because somebody else wants me to do them that I'm not comfortable with. And I think whenever your heart is involved and that's your main objective, you always going to be on your A game.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much. And I do want to say, I always have my time where I talk to the artist and tell them about the first time that I was introduced to their music. And I was introduced to your music through my boyfriend. He kept telling me about his actual favorite artist. So he kept saying his favorite artist, Mysonne, Mysonne, Mysonne. When he would come, he would play the music. He would pull up the YouTube videos. He would go on World Star, make me watch him. And when I can honestly say he is a huge fan and you are his favorite rapper. So he actually introduced me to your music. So you do have fans, like diehard fans out there.
And I definitely appreciate them, and I do everything because I know that they're out there. Like, you know, sometimes I be just like frustrated with the state of the way it is, and then I'll get a Twitter message or a YouTube message or a Facebook message from somebody who tells me that, yo, I just love everything you do, man. Please keep just giving that real. That music just gets me through, you know, and it just gives me the energy to just keep doing it. So tell your boyfriend I definitely appreciate his support.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely have fans out there. So just keep doing. And I talked to Jenny about the magazine, the 1 year anniversary party on October 8th. Did she go over everything with you about that?
She told me about it, but we didn't go over everything yet. But we'll definitely we'll be there.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate the interest.
You're very, very welcome, and I will see you October 8th, right?
Yes, you will.
All right. Thanks, my son.
All right, sweetheart. Have a good day.